Call duration, 413.
My name is Daniel Soares. I've been a 911 dispatcher for 17 years, and there are questions that haunt me every night. What happens when you answer a call from someone who died 28 years ago? What if you send help to an address that has been demolished, but the police find the house still there? What do you do when your coworkers say your line is free, but you hear someone screaming for help? And worst of all, what happens when you discover that the voice on the call is yours? I've answered thousands of calls, shootings, accidents, break-ins, domestic violence, lonely children calling because their parents won't wake up anymore. I've learned to keep my voice calm while someone bleeds on the other end of the line. I've learned not to imagine the faces, not to carry the voices home. But that night of March 14th changed everything. It was 11:47 p.m. The shift was quiet. I was drinking stale coffee when I got a call. A woman whispering. She knew the names of the officers I was dispatching. She knew my name, and she said something that froze my blood. The door needs someone. And this time, it's you. I sent 2 officers to that address. Officers Ribeiro and Martins. Good men. Martins had 3 daughters. He had just turned 40. He was the brother of my former training partner. Neither of them returned, but I still hear them, every night, screaming my name over the radio, begging me not to send them there. And you know what's worse? I found a recording of that same call, dated 1997. Same voice, same time, same duration down to the second. But in 1997, the one who answered that call was me. But in 1997, I was still in the police academy. I never worked at headquarters that year. So who was using my voice? Darker tone. This is the story of the call I could never hang up. The story of how I discovered that some calls aren't for help. They are to choose who will be next. And if you work 911, if you're a police officer, if you've ever dialed that number in desperation, you need to hear this. Because maybe the call is already waiting for you. Maybe you've already been chosen. I put on the headset and used my default voice. 911, what is your emergency? Silence. But not the dead silence of a dead line. It was a thick silence, as if someone were holding their breath for dear life. Afraid I'd hear. Hello, can you hear me? I tried again. Then came the voice. Female. Whispering so softly I had to turn up the volume on my headset. Daniel. My blood ran cold. She knew my name. In 17 years of work, that's never a good sign. Ma'am, you need to speak louder. What is your emergency? Ribeiro is bleeding. My stomach dropped. Officer Ribeiro was in patrol car 207. He was on duty that night, but she wasn't supposed to know that. No one outside of headquarters was supposed to know that. How do you know that name? Where are you? Martins can't see. He touched the mirror and now he can't see. Officer Martins, Ribeiro's partner. My heart started racing. This wasn't a normal call. This was something completely wrong. Identify yourself. Where are you located? The voice whispered an address. Acacia Street, 1438. I typed quickly into the system. The screen took longer than usual to load. Much longer. The wheel kept spinning, spinning, spinning. When it finally appeared, I read the words on the screen and felt my mouth go dry. Address deactivated. Last occurrence, 06/23/1997. 28 years ago. I looked around. My colleague Sarah was answering another line, laughing at something the caller had said. Marcus was typing reports, bored. Everything was perfectly normal. The address you entered is, send them, Daniel, send them now, before it's too late. Something in her voice wasn't despair, it was certainty, as if she already knew exactly what was going to happen, as if she'd seen it coming before. Ma'am, I need to confirm the data. A sound cut through the line. It wasn't static, it was a dragging sound like nails on wood, like something heavy being dragged slowly down a hallway. And then, in the background, very far away, I heard a male voice shouting, "Don't look at her! For the love of God! Don't look at her!" The line remained open, but there was only that sound. Dragging, 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 closer and closer to the phone. I ripped the headset off my head and looked at the screen. The call was still active. Duration, 2:34 minutes. Sarah, are you hearing something strange on your line? She looked at me, confused. "Everything's normal here, Daniel. Why?" I pointed to my screen. "That call. Do you see it active?" Sarah stood up and came to my station. She looked at the monitor. She frowned. She looked at me as if I'd lost my mind. "What call?" "Your line 7 is free." "It always has been." "Impossible." I was watching the seconds tick by. 2:49, 2:50, 2:51. I put the phone back with a trembling hand. The woman spoke again. "You've always been good with names, Daniel. Remember them well. Ribeiro, Martins. Write them down in your mind, because soon you'll be shouting those names and no one will respond." "Who are you?" My voice came out shakier than I would have liked. "Me, I'm the door, Daniel. Someone always has to be the door. And you already opened it in 1997, remember? I was in the police academy. I never answered a 911 call in 1997. I don't know what you're talking about." She made a sound. It wasn't laughter. It was something between crying and choking, like she was trying to breathe underwater. "Ah, Daniel, you will remember, when they are gone. When you are the only one who remembers they existed, then you will remember everything." And then she hung up. I stared at the screen. Call ended. Final duration, 4:13 minutes. But I knew something was deeply wrong. This wasn't a prank call. It wasn't a call from someone high. It was something that shouldn't be possible. With shaking hands, I pulled up the full call log. The origin was completely blank. No number, no cell tower, no provider, no GPS location, nothing. It was as if the connection had come out of nowhere. Then I saw something that made my heart stop. In the call history for that address, there was an old entry, very old. June 23, 1997, 11:47 p.m. Duration, 4:13. The exact same time, the same duration, down to the second. I clicked on the archived audio file with sweaty hands. The file was marked as corrupt, but the system let me open it anyway. I heard fragments through the static, a female voice whispering, "Daniel, send them. Ribeiro is bleeding. Martins can't see." My voice. It was my voice answering, "Identify yourself. Where are you located?" And in the background, that same male voice shouting, "Don't look at her." I stopped the recording. My breath was coming in short gasps. This didn't make sense. In June 1997, I was 19 years old. I was in my second month of police academy. I had never set foot in a 911 center, but that was my voice, without a doubt. I looked around. Sarah was still answering calls. Marcus was on his cell phone. No one had noticed my panic. I should have stopped right there. I should have marked it as a prank call. I should have gone home and forgotten about it. But something inside me, something that sounded exactly like that whispering voice, told me I needed to send someone to that address. Because if I didn't send it, something worse would happen. Something that had happened before. I grabbed the radio with a shaking hand and called the nearest police car. "Central to 207, Ribeiro, Martins. Do you copy?" Long static, very long. 207, "Here Central Line, respond." Ribeiro's voice finally came, distorted. 207 copying, Central. "What's up? I need you to verify an address. Rua das Acacias, 1438. Possible distress call." Absolute silence on the other side. A heavy silence. "Ribeiro, did you copy?" "Central, this address. Are you absolutely sure?" "Affirmative. We have an emergency report. Possible victim on scene." Another silence. Then Martin's voice came on the line, very serious. "Daniel, we know this place. It's not a good idea. It's really not a good idea." I felt a chill run up my spine. Why not? Because that house was demolished in 2004. I was there when they tore it down. There's nothing left on that lot. Just tall weeds and a for sale sign. My heart was racing now. "Still, I need you to confirm. Protocol. We had a specific call from that location." I heard Martins sigh deeply over the radio. "Okay, Central. On my way. But if it's a prank, Daniel, you owe me lunch, and it'll be somewhere expensive." I tried to laugh, but I couldn't, because in the background of the broadcast, very softly, almost imperceptibly, I heard it again. That sound. Drag, drag, drag. And neither of them had heard. Just me. The next 10 minutes were the longest of my life. I stared at the clock, at the screen, at the radio, waiting. Sarah asked me if I was okay. I lied and said yes. Then at 11:57 p.m., Ribeiro called on the radio. 207 on site, Central. Confirm the address. Rua das Acacias, 1438. I confirm. What are you seeing? A very long pause. Static interrupted the transmission. I pressed the earpiece to my ear. Daniel, there's a house here. My blood froze. What do you mean? Martins said it was demolished. I remember the demolition. Martin's voice sounded confused. Scared. I was there. I saw the walls fall down. But there's a house here, 2 stories, old wood, broken windows, and the front door is open. This was impossible. Completely impossible. Are you absolutely sure you're in the right place? GPS confirms, Ribeiro replied. Acacias, 1438. But Daniel, that doesn't make any sense. That land should be empty. I could hear their breathing over the radio. Heavy, nervous, terrified. Okay, approach with maximum caution. Report everything you see. If anything strange happens, you leave immediately. Understood? Copied. I heard their footsteps, twigs snapping, then wood creaking under their boots, the door opening with a long, sharp groan. Oh, it's dark in here, very dark. It smells horrible, like mold mixed with something else. What else, Ribeiro? Iron. Strong smell of iron. Blood. He was describing the smell of old blood. Martins, turn on your gun's flashlight. I heard a click, then a muffled curse. Daniel, there are candles lit, black candles, going down the stairs. About 20 or 30 candles, all lit, leading to the basement. My blood ran cold. Candles lit? The house had been abandoned for 20 years. How the hell are there candles lit? I have no idea, but Ribeiro's voice cut off abruptly. Wait a minute. Martins, are you seeing this? Seeing what? The candles. What candles? Ribeiro's voice sounded genuinely confused. I see a child. At the top of the stairs. A girl. Dirty white dress. Long black hair covering her face. My heart stopped beating. Ribeiro, repeat that now. There's a child here, Daniel. About 7, 8 years old, maybe. She's standing at the top of the stairs. Completely still. Just looking at me, I think. I can't see her face because of her hair. Ribeiro, what the fuck are you talking about? Martin's voice was becoming hysterical. There are no children here. There are only these candles going down to the basement. They were seeing completely different things. In the same place. At the same time. Looking in the same direction. Team 207 remain calm. Ribeiro, is the child moving? No, she just stands there. Just standing there. But Daniel, she's smiling. I can see it through her hair. She's smiling and her teeth are all black. Daniel, for the love of God, what is he talking about? Martins was on the verge of panic. I'm looking in the same direction and there's nobody there. Just the candles. Martins, look exactly where Ribeiro is pointing the gun. I'm looking. There's nothing. Just the ladder and those damn candles coming down and... A scream cut through the radio. Not from Martins. Not from Ribeiro. A female voice. High-pitched. Desperate. Distant. Help! Please someone help me! He's here! He entered the house. Ribeiro, Martins, are you listening to this? I shouted into the radio. Listening to what? The two responded in unison. The woman kept screaming, but only I could hear it. It was exactly the same as before. The call within the call. He's coming up the stairs. He's coming. Please, identify yourself. Where are you? I shouted, knowing it was useless. But she didn't answer me. She screamed as if she were in another time, another dimension, trapped in some loop of eternal terror. Then I heard Ribeiro's voice, completely trembling. Daniel, the girl. She just said something. What did she say? My mouth was dry. She said, he shouldn't have looked in the mirror. It's too late now. He belongs in the house now. What girl? Ribeiro? What the fucking girl? Martins was completely losing his sanity. There is none. A violent crash, like something very heavy falling. or something being thrown against a wall. Then absolute silence. 207, respond immediately. Ribeiro, Martins, static. Vehicle 207, here is an order. Respond now. Ribeiro's voice returned, but it was different. Whispering, terrified. Central, I saw, in the hallway mirror, there was a big, dusty mirror, and I saw myself. But Daniel, it wasn't me. I mean, it was me, but it was different. There was blood running from his mouth, and his eyes were completely black. And he smiled at me, and he waved. I felt a chill run through my body. Ribeiro, you two get out of there immediately. This is a direct order. Get out now. I can't, Daniel. The front door closed by itself. What door? Break down the door. The front door. We went in, but now it's locked from the inside. And Daniel, there are more doors that weren't there when we came in. In the hallway, about 10, 15 doors, all closed, all with sounds coming from inside. The candles went out, Martin shouted. Daniel, all the candles went out at the same time. It's completely dark, and the girl is coming down the stairs. Ribeiro's voice was broken with fear. She's not walking. She's floating, gliding. Her feet aren't touching the steps, and she's still smiling with those black teeth. Car 207, use force to get out. Break down the door, break a window, get out now. I heard running footsteps, shoulders slamming violently against wood, cries of exertion, glass breaking, but then a cry of pain. The window, there's something on the other side of the window. It didn't broken, the glass didn't broken. Then I heard it, clear, distinct, unmistakable. That sound, drag, drag, drag. Are you guys listening to this? Martins's voice was racked with terror. And it's coming from below, from the basement, Ribeiro whispered. Drag, 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 faster, heavier, closer. Someone is coming up from the basement, Martin shouted. But there's no stairs to the basement. We saw it. There was no stairs. Drag, 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 wood creaking, hinges groaning, a door slowly opening, a scream, high-pitched, pure terror from one of the two. Ribeiro, Martins, answer now. Heavy static, then heavy breathing, sobbing, someone crying. Daniel, it was Martins. His voice was completely destroyed. Daniel, please. Ribeiro, he saw something in the mirror, and now he's not here anymore. My blood froze. What do you mean? It's not there anymore? He just disappeared, right in front of me. 1 second he was here, looking in the mirror and screaming, and the next second he disappeared, like he never existed. Martins, stay calm. Where are you now? I don't know. The doors keep changing. I opened a door that led to the living room, and now I'm in a hallway that wasn't there before. And there are mirrors everywhere. Mirrors on the walls. And I keep seeing things inside them. Don't look in the mirrors, Martins, do you hear me? Don't look in the mirrors. There's someone behind me. I hear breathing, but when I turn around, there's no one there. Drag, drag, drag. The sound came back. Closer now. Much closer. It's coming. Whatever it is. It's coming. And Daniel, there's a door in front of me. A red door. The only red door in the hallway. Don't open that door, Martins. Don't. But there's a voice on the other end. A child's voice. It's saying that Ribeiro is in there. That he needs help. It's a lie. Martins, don't believe it. Get out of there. But what if it's true? What if he's in there? I can't leave my partner. Martins, don't open that door. The sound of a doorknob turning. A door opening. And then the scream. The most horrific scream I've ever heard in 17 years of work. A scream that wasn't human. That began as Martin's voice and ended as something else. And then silence. Martins. Nothing. Vehicle 207, respond. The line remained open, but there was no one on the other end. Just that thick silence. Heavy. Wrong. Then, a voice. Not Martin's voice. Not Ribeiro's voice. The woman's voice. The same voice as the original call. They opened the door. Daniel. Now it's just you left. And the line finally died. I stood frozen, staring at the screen, at the dead radio. My hands were shaking violently. Sarah came running. "Daniel, what happened? I heard you screaming. The 207 patrol car. They disappeared." "Disappeared? What do you mean?" "I sent them to 1438 Rua das Acacias, and they entered the house and now they're not responding and..." Sarah looked at me confused. "What house? That lot is empty. It was demolished years ago." "I know," I yelled. Other attendants looked at me. "I know, but they said there was a house. They broke in. I heard everything." Sarah took my headset and checked my station. She frowned. "Daniel, you don't have any active call records, nor any patrol dispatch records. Your last entry was 40 minutes ago. That's impossible." I answered a call at 11:47 p.m. I sent 207. She showed me the screen. It was blank. No records, no calls, nothing. "Daniel, you need to go home. You're stressed. You need to rest." "No." I stood up abruptly. "Call the dispatcher. Ask about the 207, Ribeiro and Martins. They went to Acacias." Sarah picked up the house phone. She spoke softly. Then she looked at me with a strange expression. "Daniel, there is no patrol car 207 on duty tonight, and we don't have any officers named Ribeiro or Martins on duty." My world started spinning. But I know Martins. He's the brother of..." I stopped. I tried to remember my former training partner's name. The name was on the tip of my tongue. I was sure of it. It was... The name had disappeared. I ran to the archive. I ignored Sarah calling me. I accessed the historical records. I searched for Ribeiro, Martins, police car 207, and then I found it. Officer Pedro Ribeiro died on 06/23/1997. Circumstances: missing on duty. Body never found. Officer Lucas Martins died on 06/23/1997. Circumstances: missing on duty. Body never found. Last record: dispatched to Rua das Acacias 1438. Responsible attendant: Daniel Soares. My heart stopped. I was 19 in 1997. I was in the gym. I never worked at the station that year. With my hands shaking uncontrollably, I searched the archives for clerks named Daniel Soares. There was only one. Me. Date of admission: April 15th, 2008. But the 1997 record said Daniel Soares. Same name. Same spelling. I clicked on the full profile. There was a photo of the attendant from 1997. The screen loaded. When the image appeared, I vomited. That was me, exactly as I am now. Same age, same face, same scar above my eyebrow that I got in 2015. But the photo was from 1997, 28 years ago. I wiped my mouth with a trembling hand and continued reading. Attendant Daniel Soares was removed from duty on June 24, 1997, after an incident involving a patrol car. He was admitted to a psychiatric facility. Diagnosis: acute psychotic episode with paranoid delusions. Observations: patient insists he answered a call from himself and that the house chose him. He continues to hear voices through disconnected phones. It had a link to related documents. I clicked. It was a hospital discharge form. Dated March 15, 2025. 2 weeks ago, patient Daniel Soares was discharged after 27 years of hospitalization. He shows significant improvement. He no longer has psychotic episodes and is fit for social reintegration. My vision began to darken. I didn't remember being admitted. I remembered working here for 17 years. I remembered my family, my friends, my whole life. But what if it was all a lie? What if I had actually spent 27 years in a mental hospital? What if this night, this call, was the original? What if I were reliving 1997? With shaking hands, I searched for one last file. The audio file of the original call from 1997. I found it. I clicked. I waited for it to load. And then I heard my own voice. 911, what's your emergency? The woman whispering. Daniel. I answer. How do you know my name? And then the woman said something that wasn't in the corrupted version I had heard before. Because you're calling me from the future, and every night you come back. Every night you answer that call. Every night you send them. And every night you realize the truth too late. You never left the house, Daniel. You're stuck in the loop, just like them, just like me. And tonight, you're going in again. Recording is finished. I looked around the center. Sarah watched me worriedly. Marcus continued typing. Everything seemed normal. But when I looked out the window, I saw something that made my blood run cold. It was dark outside, but it wasn't nighttime darkness. It was dark inside, in a closed place. The stars weren't stars. They were points of light, like candles, black candles. I got up and ran to the central door. I turned the handle. Locked. Sarah, the door is locked. She looked at me confused. What door? Daniel, what are you talking about? I looked back. Sarah was fading, becoming translucent. Marcus too. The entire plant was dissolving. And then I heard, drag, 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 coming from the hallway. The hallway that shouldn't exist in a 911 dispatch center. A door materialized in the wall, a red door. And on the other side, I heard voices, Ribeiro, Martins, and my own voice, yelling. My back was to the red door. My heart was racing. Cold sweat was pouring down my face. Drag, drag, drag. The sound was getting closer. From inside the red door, it's not real. None of this is real. I whispered to myself. I'll wake up. I'll wake up and be home and... Daniel. I turned around. The woman on the phone stood in front of me. Her dress was dirty white. Her black hair covered her face. But through it, I could see her smile. Black teeth. You always take a while to understand, she said. Her voice was both a whisper and a shout. But deep down, you always knew. Knew what? That you never left. She raised her hand. She pointed to my workstation. The screen was showing something. I approached and trembling, it was a recording. From a security camera. Date, June 23, 1997, 11:53 p.m. The image showed the 911 control center, but it was different. Older, old equipment, but the layout was the same. And then I saw myself, sitting at my station alone, but talking to someone, gesturing, shouting. There was no one else in the station, just me, alone, talking to the void. Then the 1997 version of me stood up, ran to a door, the same red door, and he entered. The recording continued. Minutes passed. The center was empty. Then the door opened again, and I left. But it wasn't exactly me. There was something wrong. The way I walked, the way my head moved, like someone was learning how to use my body. The thing that looked like me walked back to the station, sat down, put on the headset, and he started answering calls. Normally, as if nothing had happened. Recording is finished. Do you understand now? The woman whispered. The house needs doors. Doors to enter this world. And you, all of you who answer emergency calls, are perfect because you hear voices. You send help. You make way. I didn't go into the house. I know I didn't. Ah, Daniel. She tilted her head. You joined 28 years ago. And ever since, you've been on a loop, answering the same call, sending the same officers, coming here, finding out the truth, and then forgetting and starting over. No. You want to know what's worse? She smiled wider. Every time you go through the loop, you bring more people in. Ribeiro, Martins, Sarah, Marcus. Everyone who interacts with you during the loop eventually joins in too. I looked back. Sarah and Marcus had completely disappeared. They're here now, in the house, trapped, just like you. The red door began to open slowly, and now you're going to go back in and forget again. And the loop will start all over again, because that's the punishment for opening the door. Punishment for what? What did I do? She came closer. Her face was very close to mine. Through her hair, I saw her eyes, completely black, like holes in the universe. You answered when you shouldn't have, when the call first came from that address, in 1997. The first call, the call that opened the door, you should have hung up. You should have ignored it, but you sent help. And when help came, the house woke up. I was doing my job. And now your job is to be the door. Forever. The red door was wide open now. On the other side, there was nothing. Just darkness. But I could hear screams, whispers, cries, laughter, and my own voice saying, 911, what's your emergency? Repeating, infinitely, come in, Daniel, or you'll stay here forever, aware of the loop but unable to break it. I looked at the door, at the darkness, and then I realized I had no choice. I never did, because I had already entered, a long time ago. All of this, every second, was just my mind trying to process what had happened when I walked through that door in 1997. I took a step, and another, and I entered the darkness. If you're listening to this, then I managed to record it, or maybe it's just another part of the loop. I don't know anymore. My name is Daniel Soares, or was. I'm not sure if I still exist as you understand existence. I work or worked at the 911 center, and I answered a call, a simple call, but now I understand the questions. Those questions I asked in the beginning. What happens when you answer a call from someone who died 28 years ago? You discover that time doesn't exist the way you think, that the past and the future bleed into each other, and that the person who died could be you. What if you send help to an address that has been demolished, but the police find the house still there? So the house was never actually demolished. It just moved. It went somewhere else, a place that exists between places, and it's waiting. What do you do when your colleagues say your line is free, but you hear someone shouting? You realize it's you who's screaming, from another time, from another loop, trying to warn yourself, but you never succeed. And worst of all, what happens when you discover that the voice on the call is yours? So you finally understand. You are not hearing the call. You are the call. And now I have new questions. Questions that will wake you up at 3 in the morning. What if the person you're talking to on the phone isn't actually talking to you, but to something using their voice? What if every time you dial 911, you're not calling for help, but feeding something that lives inside the system? What if every emergency call is an opportunity for the house to choose someone new? What if, right now, your phone rings, and it's you on the other end? Are you going to answer? Because I'm going to tell you one final secret. If you work in emergency response, if you're a police officer, a firefighter, a paramedic, if you've ever called 911 in despair, then your name is already on the list, and one of these nights you're going to get the call. Your own voice will whisper your name on the other side, and it will give you an address, and you won't be able to resist, because that's the nature of the door. It knocks, and you answer, always answers. If you want to know more about cases like this, cases that shouldn't exist but do, cases that the center tries to erase but that continue to happen, I've gathered everything in one material. It's in the pinned comment. I can't say much about it here, but it's there. For those who want to understand what really happens when you dial those 3 numbers. For those who want to know which calls you should never ever answer. And for those who want to learn to recognize when it's their own voice on the other end of the line. Because if you don't learn, you're going to be next. 911, what's your emergency?